Let us return to the overview table by Perman that classified goods according to their rivalrous and excludability characteristics. Next, we will talk about non-excludable rival goods, or open access resources such as fisheries. But one can also think of the use of aquifers or scarce freshwater bodies, areas for grazing of cattle or logging of forests. Probably the most famous neoclassical work on these resources is The Tragedy of the Commons by Garrett Hardin. The Tragedy of the Commons describes a form of market failure due to externalities. Hardin argued that if open access resources are left unregulated, that they are exploited at too fast a rate from the public perspective. The reason is because individuals keep using the commons until the benefits equal the private cost of doing so. But in doing so, they ignore external costs such as stock depletion on others. According to Hardin, it is a tragedy because individual resource-saving behavior does not improve the outcome as others will consume the saved resource. Indeed, we observe overexploitation for the famous example of fisheries. This figure gives some idea of how pervasive this overfishing has been by showing estimates on the number of catches per 100 hooks by year or biomass for 12 different regions. The figure is taken from Myers and Worm 2003. Quoting from page 280, industrial fisheries reduced biomass by 80% within 15 years of exploitation. Meta-analysis shows that large predatory fish biomass is only about 10% of pre-industrial levels. Let us consider this problem of the commons in a bit more detail next with the help of Stavins. The review by Stavins describes a typical fisheries model and how the cap and trade type of individual transferable quota have seen some success in regulating fisheries. Stavins focuses his review on the economics of renewable resources, where on page 83 he writes, "The irony is obvious. Many non-renewable natural resources, which are in finite supply, have not become more scarce over time, and none has been exhausted. But renewable resources, which have the capacity to regenerate themselves, have in many cases become more scarce and in some cases have indeed been exhausted, that is, become extinct." Now, it may be useful here to keep in mind that Stavins is referring to the relative scarcity of non-renewable resources. And even though these have become more scarce in absolute sense, the decrease in market prices suggests that their relative scarcity decreased. The irony remains. Stavins explains the tragedy of the commons with the help of this fisheries model. Consider the following benefit and cost curves of fishing effort in figure 2. We see depicted that optimal fishing effort EE maximizes net benefit or rent and is found where the marginal benefits are equal to the marginal cost. Yet individual fishermen do not care about maximizing total rent and continue exerting effort as long as the benefits from doing so exceed the cost. This continues until the open access competitive equilibrium settled at a suboptimally low fish stock level at EC, evaporating all rents in the process. This typical fisheries model is very well explained by a video from Conservation Strategy Fund.